Today I'm going to do a summer corn salad. Now there's nothing quite like corn on the cob, but corn in the summer, sometimes if you've got your corn going, you're ready to try it a different way. So today I'm going to take it off the cob and turn it into a salad. To do that, I'm going to start with the dressing. I'm going to start with 1/4 cup of cider vinegar. Again, like always, if you've got another favorite vinegar that's not going to discolor the corn, go for it. 2 tablespoons of sugar. And a lot of us are trying to cut back on sugar, but this is a time when a little bit is going to go a fairly long way. This is actually going to serve 4 people, so it's not going to be that much per person when it comes down to it. I'm also going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And you're just going to whisk this around until the sugar is dissolved, and then you're going to set it aside. Now the nice thing about this particular salad is that we're not going to cook the corn. As long as your corn is at the peak of freshness, it's good to go. So you need about 2 ears of corn. You're just going to cut the corn off the cob. I usually do that in some kind of like an 8 by 13 pan with a cutting board resting in it. That kind of corrals some of the kernels. There's lots of techniques for doing this, but if you don't do something to corral them, they're going to go everywhere. I'm giving you a heads up on that one. So 2 cups of fresh corn kernels. If your corn is not as fresh as you would like it, then I would blanch it for about a minute and then chill it in ice water to get it ready to go. The other thing that you could do on this, however, is if you have leftover corn that you've grilled, even though it's cooked, it adds that smokiness to this salad that's also really, really good. So 2 ears of corn is going to be about 1.5 to 2 cups of kernels. I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of diced red onion. Now, dicing here for this particular salad, we want every piece to be about the same size as the initial pieces of corn or kernels. So look at the kernels that you've got, and before you begin to dice, that's kind of your goal. It's not all going to work out, but that's kind of the goal. I'm also going to add 1/4 cup of red bell pepper, 1/4 cup of cucumber. And I've left the seeds on because it's very pretty. I'm going to add in 1.5 teaspoons or a little bit more depending on how much spice you like of diced jalapeno pepper, 1/4 cup of cherry or grape tomatoes that have been halved, and just stir that together a little bit to get it underway. And then also I'm going to put in 1.5 tablespoons of chopped Italian parsley or curly parsley, whichever one you've got. And then I'm going to get some basil, and I want about 1.5 teaspoons here, so we don't need a lot. I'm just going to tear it in rather than try to cut it. It gives me a little bit more control over it for the amount I want in here, but it also keeps the leaves from turning dark quite as quickly if you tear it along the cell lines as opposed to cutting them open. So we'll get that in there and then stir that together a little bit. Then we're going to bring back our dressing. At this point, whisk this again because its sugar may have settled out of it a little bit. And just stir that in. And then this is close to being done. The last thing we're going to do is add a little bit of a green to it. And in this case, I'm going to use some baby spinach leaves. Now, I would encourage you to add this as close to the point of service as possible because we've got a lot of vinegar in here now. We've got some sugar, we've got some salt, and all of those things are going to cause the greens to break down. So get a sturdy green if you're not going to use spinach. Pick another one that is fairly sturdy. We don't need a lot in here, and we're just going to blend them in a little bit. And then rather than stir the rest in, what I'm going to do is put a few of them on the plate. So there's some place for some of this terrific tasting juice to go. With a slightly larger spoon. And there you have it. This one actually serves 4, as I mentioned earlier. It's a really pleasant way to serve some of that corn, as well as a lot of the other vegetables that you've got coming out of the garden this time of year. I hope you'll give it a try. It's summer corn salad. For Oklahoma Gardening, I'm Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.